You want me to like set up a nice table? No, I'm not going to.
Backdrop.
No, there's no nice
tarp.
backdrops. We're just gonna do it like this. Howdy, lads and lassies. Welcome back to the channel. And I'm out here at the range today with the infamous Litzy Kyle Litzy, KL,
What's up, guys?
Kapalima. If you were a fraternity.
No, I certainly was not.
If you were a hamburger, you'd be a something Mac. I don't know.
School
Anyway,
was not my thing.
today we are talking about these guns right here. These are our 2011s, and you have a gun built by Titan, but you also have a Taran Tactical coming in, right?
Very soon.
And you like that gun?
Yeah.
It's nice, huh?
Yeah, it's very nice.
I mean,
They're
Taran.
very similar builds too.
Taran has built 2 guns for me now, and this is an Infinity. I originally got it in 40 cal, but this is an Infinity, which you can change out the breech face and switch caliber. So I'm currently shooting it in 9mm because I'm shooting limited minor because I don't want to reload 40. But I thought the topic is 2011 right for me? So let's start off with just like the average shooter. For me at least, it's definitely not a gun that I recommend just, hey, go buy a 2011.
Yeah, agreed.
But if somebody were to come to you and be like, hey man, should I get a 2011, or what do you think? What say you?
I think it depends on your level as a shooter and your commitment to the sport, like how far along you are.
Yeah.
Honestly, the people think that 2011s are this magical thing that's gonna make you shoot better overnight, and it's gonna make this huge difference to your shooting skills by just having one. And it's not the truth. It's super marginal. Like the advantages that you're getting from shooting a 2011 are tiny.
Yeah.
In reality, compared to like a Shadow 2, like a CZ75 platform, recoil's a little bit softer, sight radius a little bit longer if you get a longer slide.
Yeah. And the hard one I love shooting these. To me, switching back to this, it's fun.
Yeah.
They're really fun guns to shoot, but I can't think of a match where I shot limited class and did not get beat by somebody shooting a striker fired weapon.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm trying to remember back. I think it was Area 1. I'm pretty sure Shane Cooley smoked everybody on that shooting a Glock, and then look at what Savigny's done shooting a Glock. Yeah, didn't Stoger win a limited national shooting a different gun?
Oh, he's won all kinds of stuff shooting Berettas.
Yeah.
Like stock Berettas
Which
back
is
in the day, which
so,
is even more out there.
I don't think it makes you a better shooter, but if you're just a fan of guns, I mean, we're both shooting 2011, so it's hard for us to say.
I know, yeah, we're both using them because I mean the slight advantages that we're getting out of them are worth it to us.
Yeah.
It's worth it to get this little bit of performance upgrade, but with that comes the cost of it being a little trickier to keep running and maintain and understanding what you need to do, because I mean a Glock or a CZ is relatively out of the box, you just shoot the gun.
Yeah,
it's gonna be 20,000 rounds before something starts going sideways and you need to mess with it.
The magazines work, the
mags work.
I compare these a lot to a lot of people as it's like a race car. So oh man, wouldn't it be cool to have a Formula 1 car or a NASCAR on the street every day? Not really, because your upkeep in these is just a whole different level. I am now what we just shot probably 200 300 rounds, something like that, and I've got to go home, take this thing all apart and clean the tar out of it. Back in the day when I was shooting Carry Optics hard, it was like, did I clean my gun? The gun just ran, the CZ. I've shot competition with Glocks as well, and that's kind of the same thing. It's it kept working.
That being said, this gun in particular, it is my first 2011, but as far as reliability goes, I think the tolerances are just right on it, where it's pretty accurate, but it's also loose enough where, I mean, I can shoot 1,000 rounds and not clean it and not have issues. I can drop my mags in the dirt like I did with my CZ they're all MBX mags.
Oh,
and
so you're shooting MBX.
The MBX seem to, I mean, they can get pretty dirty and still keep working. Like it, but I know for a fact that other 2011s that are built, like, you know, some Infinities and stuff, are just tighter, which is cool, and they're more accurate, but they do take that, like, you know, every 500 rounds you need to be oiling it, every 1,000 rounds you need to be cleaning it.
Yes.
Like, you have to follow that schedule a little more tightly.
Yeah, and you know, if that's for you and you're that type of shooter and you're somebody who, you know, like, I think the big one that I see is recoil springs. I see guys kind of forgetting to change their recoil springs. I see a lot of, this is a real popular weapon in the law enforcement world right now with the intro to staccato and a lot of the marketing they've done. And, you know, I do think they did their job right in some of the shooters that they got. Like, they have some guys that understand what law enforcement and military guys have to do, like Pannone, and he's no longer with them anymore, but he still helps them and consults with them and such. And a lot of the shooters they brought in, it's like, those guys are real shooters. They put a lot of rounds down range. And
True.
you know, I think staccatos may become the closest to
Yeah.
being like I can buy it and it's gonna work.
Yeah.
But even with those, I still see guys have problems with them.
Yeah.
And you need to work on the gun. And if that's something for you, then a 2011 might be a really fun gun to get back into.
Yeah.
For me, I just needed a change coming off of shooting so much carry optics, and it's like I've shot that Shadow 2 so much, and it's hard. I love it so much, and I already miss the gun.
Yeah. I felt the same when I quit shooting my Shadows. I was like, man, what am I doing?
Like, why?
Okay, yeah, it's softer. And it took me honestly a year to get this gun set up to where I was now better than how good I was with the Shadow 2.
Really?
Yeah, it took like a long time to get the safety right, to get the, you know, the trigger length of pull set up properly, the right recoil springs, the right load, mess with my sights, pin the freaking grip safety, just all this finicking just to get this thing. And now I will say I am better than I was, and I pick up a Shadow 2 now and I go, oh, my trigger finger will literally be sitting like on the crease. Like, there's just less nuance you can do. And also I was gonna say with these, when you break a part on a Shadow, you know, like you break your slide stop, shit happens all the time. You just put a new one in, right?
Yeah.
You just buy a new one and it just goes in. It's not the case with these. These are hand fitted guns. People
Like,
are hand
everything,
filing and stoning parts.
Everything needs to be tuned.
Yeah, everything's got to be tuned.
Every little piece. And, you know, saying that, find a good gunsmith, and a gunsmith that really knows his stuff, you know. There's very few people. I mean, we're lucky here in Southern California. We have a lot of really great shooters here. I think there's maybe more good shooters in this small little area than anywhere else in the country. But we have some great gunsmiths around. Like, I use Jojo Vadonas a lot. He's the guy who did the barrel swap on this for me. If I have any ejector extractor problems, he's the guy I go to. Did my trigger job on this. But then it's like, you know, I'm lucky enough to have some friends that really know what they're doing with these. But man, if I didn't have that, I'd be I'd be in trouble, you know. So that's something you have to consider purchasing these guns. It's not just a, you know, oh, I'm going to spend this money and buy it. You've got to take the time, find the load, and you've got to care about those things to make it run like a race car. Like, which gas is it going to work better with, you know? It is a single action, so it has a safety. Mine has an ambidextrous safety here. So that's your safety, and this is definitely a training thing you need to work on. You need to work. Was that hard for you?
No, I mean, look, mine is a single-sided safety, shielded. Does not have one on this side. Reason being, I have pretty big hands, and my knuckle would actually turn the safety on while I was shooting.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I have to run a one-sided safety, and I also do weird stuff. I flick. People are gonna probably roast me, but when I draw, I actually flick my safety down and get my thumb out of the way, because when I grip, my palm actually covers the whole safety.
Oh, wow.
So there's another thing that I had to, like, you know, custom tailor to myself.
Yeah.
The way that I hold the gun.
Where
and
for
the size of
mine,
my
I have
guns.
this. I've shown you guys this. If you haven't seen that video, it's me switching to limited class video. I'll put it right here, or here, there, or over there. But I've got this longer safety here that Jojo did for me, and I believe it's an Infinity safety, and it puts my thumb right out of the way
Right
for
where you
my
need
hand.
it. Perfect.
Right,
yeah.
perfect where I need it. But
Like a normal person.
I've got puppy dog hands.
You have
I've got
normal
really
person hands.
small hands. And it's I got small hands. So what? But that's a great example where it's like my gun works for me, your gun works for you.
Yeah.
Your gun might not work for me.
Yeah.
So it's really it's a gun you kind of have to set up specifically for you. I don't think I know anybody who has the same rear sight.
Yeah.
That's another one that I see. A lot of guys are super picky about their rear sight and front sight setup.
Yep.
This is actually the rear blade on this. I forgot the width, but it's a width that Duke turned me on to, Barry, and it's a little bit bigger. And then the front sight is one that Taryn turned me on to. So, but he runs his different. He actually doesn't have the blob on the outside. He has a small little blob on the inside here, and then there's a small hole that he's looking through. So it's giving him this really small, tight dot,
cool.
where I like a bigger dot, just for me with my eyes. But everybody's going to set theirs up differently. I think the biggest takeaway from this is it right for you? I don't know. Depends how much you want to shoot and how much you care about it, but it's going to take some work. You're not just going to be able to buy this thing and just go out of the box. Now, there's a couple, manufacturers out there. I've had friends have great luck and bad luck with staccatos. I've got some friends that are serious shooters that are just like, this thing's amazing. And then I have some friends that are serious shooters that have tons of problems with it, but then they have problems and they've fixed those problems. So they've been able to take that staccato and do that. I can't say enough.
Likely you're going to have that buying a Glock or a CZ.
Yeah, way less
Everything's
likely.
machined. Everything's probably probed even in the factory. Whereas like even a staccato, I'm sure they're probably machining a lot more stuff than back in the day where all the stuff was hand fit.
Yeah.
But even then, it's just something about that 2011 platform. Machinists or even big companies have trouble just accurately and consistently machining all the components.
Yeah. And I don't know a ton about, staccato and what they've gone through. Mike can probably
Neither do I.
speak better to that. Maybe one day I'll get him to make a video about that, because he's gone and done tours and he's like, it's a production gun. And like, we've had these arguments with each other, and I dare not try to disagree with Mike. It's something I don't try to do often, but I was like, you can't make a factory gun, man. Like it's but he's like, no, they've done it.
He seems to usually be right about stuff. He's pretty based.
He's smart like that. Even when I know he's wrong, he's like so smart. He just makes it feel like he's right. It's really depressing. Infinity as well. Check out Infinity. I think they make amazing guns. I don't know anybody over there, but I know so many people who trust them and trust their guns and their parts. Their parts are amazing. I think Taryn's new guns are ridiculous, and people are like, oh, it's $6,000. I think one of his guns is going for like $6,000, and I'm like, dude, do you know how much money and time I put into a 2011? And one thing about Taryn is, whether he's new to you guys or old to you guys, that guy, his lineage is, for a time, he was the greatest shooter on the planet, really. Like, he might be one of the best all-around shooters in our lifetime. Like, there's nothing he hasn't won. Multiple times. I'm like, hey, are you going to shoot Worlds this year? He's like, I've won that thing like 9 times or 10 times. He's like, how many times do I have to be a world champion? He just, and but he still has it in him, and he
knows his way around 2011. So like
That's true.
Those Terran 2011s, I was there for part of the process of when he was curating what he wanted his new Combat Masters and Sand Vipers to be, and I mean, he's really hand picking all the parts and the way that everything goes together, and he did a great job. They're good guns. And then also just to mention, this company's kind of been restructured, so Titan is now going to be called Corsair Weapon Systems. So in the future, you can look for them too. I mean, this
Corsair?
has been Corsair.
I'm gonna put a link
Corsair.
to that down in the description. And is that Tim?
Tim Pack. That's
Pack.
his company. So he does a great job. Terrans are great. You got, this is an old gun.
It's an old gun.
It's not going to be anything like this anymore. They're pretty wild. They're still making good shit though. So.
Yeah,
Lots of good options.
It's and
or go buy a Glock.
Or go buy a Glock. It's the final answer. No. If you really want to do it, I would encourage you guys to do it. Just know you're going to have to put the time in. know you're going to have a good gunsmith around. I would definitely just ask around, and if you have anywhere, you can go on USPSA.com and look for a match. And if you go to a match, you're going to see somebody or people shooting 2011s. You're just going to.
Yeah.
Like can't remember last time going to a match where I didn't see somebody shooting a 2011.
Yeah, true.
And it's just start asking those guys. You'd be surprised how nice the competition community is and how full of information they are. Like they're like, yeah, here's my guy, definitely go to him. Like they'll start telling you, and you'll start looking around and you'll see, the people around that where their guns are working. So watch them shoot a couple stages. And if you have a guy in a stage and he's shooting, especially an open gun, like when I see a guy shoot a whole match with an open gun and not have a problem, I'm like, dude, tell me your secrets.
Yeah. What's going on?
Like what sort of voodoo witchcraft mind spell have you put on this gun to make it always run? And those guys will a lot of times be able to tell you, right away, like, oh, here's my gunsmith. And that was my Infinity kick. Was like, I remember there was a female shooter who's really well known to this day, and Taryn got her an Infinity open gun. And it's the very first gun I saw the girl take it out of the box, put stock ammo in it, and she shot open minor, and she shot a whole match with it, and it worked. I was like, what? Like, what did you do to that open? Because almost always you got it, especially back in the day, you couldn't just buy an open gun and it worked. Most people were buying it from a maker, but even those factory guns, you're taking them and you're getting things tweaked and tuned and everything else to it. So, it's not for everyone, but it's definitely not something you shouldn't do. If you're thinking about doing it, kind of like people that ask me, like, I'm thinking about joining the military. I'm usually like, go join the military. If you're thinking about getting one of these, do it. Just realize what that is encompassing, and what that's going to take to make one of these run, and for you to really truly enjoy it. Is it a good home defense option? I don't know. It's not mine. It wouldn't be my carry option, but I know for a fact I became a better shooter shooting a limited 2011 weapon. And when I started working, with Glock 19s, more specifically, I had to carry a Glock 19 a lot. Everything transferred over. And your transfer from double action, double single to this, it took some time getting the gun right, but it's not like, you had to relearn how to shoot or anything. Just a couple little things like training with the safety and stuff like that. Some training issues that maybe I'll talk to. I got a couple friends that work in the LE field that, if you want to carry one of these on duty, you have to go take their classes in their law enforcement departments. Maybe I can get them on here in the future. If you guys would like to see that, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try to reach out to some of those guys, and maybe Panone as well. I know he's done a lot of courses for LE agencies. But anything more on it for you?
I think we covered it, man.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys on the next one. Please consider liking and subscribing. Any questions, comments below. I'm going to make Kyle answer all of them because I probably don't know. But more details on my gun. This is an Infinity sight tracker, so the sight is mounted to the barrel. I have a 10-pound recoil spring in here with a 18-pound hammer spring. And this is just the plastic Infinity grip with the silicone carb bit. And what do you got there?
This is a front sight block, so it does the same thing that his does, just with a block instead of an island. It is I forget the length of the barrel. I think it's a 5-incher, and same thing, plastic grips, and this is all custom grip job that I did with epoxy putty and silicone carbide.
I'm gonna need you to do
EGW kit inside, EGW ignition kit.
Oh, okay.
And an 8-pound spring. Mine's a lighter spring, which I think you could probably run as well, but we'll see.
Let's get through a match first, shall we? All right, guys. See you on the next one. God bless. Boom.